Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-matic presentation tool and tutorial for the map components of Unit 6, Lesson 2, Geography and Land of Asia. Before we get started, please let me just explain the directions for you guys. All you essentially have to do is label the features of Geography of Asia and then of course designate them with the key and portray them on the map. We're going to go section by section here, and of course you should proceed to the next parts that are recorded here to help you make sense of the map specifically. It works best if you go by sections, so let's start with oceans first. Remember, our task here is to label the oceans, of course, with a key, or designate them with the key, and then, of course, label them and designate them accordingly later on. So let's go ahead and pick a bigger dot there for all three, and let's label them right now. We have the Indian Ocean here, Pacific, and Arctic right there. So we should use text boxes as well that coincide with them. Arctic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. I know that upon first glance this map might have looked a little bit challenging for you, but it's really not once you start to get going. So ocean's already finished. Go us. Let's move on to seas. Let's do the same thing here. Designate colors here. Caspian Sea, Arabian Sea, Yellow Sea, Sea of Japan, Aral Sea, East China Sea, South China Sea, Bay of Bengal. And we should be good to go up here and do them all right now. Caspian Sea is over here. So I'm going to label it as such, Caspian Sea. Down here we have the Bay of Bengal. Over here is the Arabian Sea. South China Sea is over here. Let's label again. East China Sea right there. Yellow Sea right here. You're welcome to change the font however you would like. Totally fine. Sea of Japan is in between China and Japan, of course. Right there. And that might be close to it. Let me just double check my key here. I think we need to do the RLC, which is up here. I always seem to forget about that one. Let's double check our key. Yep, that looks great. Now let's move on to the next section of the presentation for rivers. Okay, so let's talk about rivers specifically. Let's designate a different color here. We should be good to, I think, choose a lighter blue. Let's see how this looks. So by picking from the text box and the drawing icon, we could probably go a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit thinner too. There we go. As you can see, Asia is home to a lot of different rivers, so understanding where they are, generally speaking, can be helpful. So I'm going to be flipping that back and forth between my key and the Kemi map, so don't mind the excess noises in the background there. The Volga River right there, general whereabouts. The Ob River coming down from the top right there. And we'll try to label them with similar colors, just for context. Sure, that'll work. Let's pick something light. Volga River, I'm just going to put R there. You guys should be able to know what that means. Ob River, or Ob-R. So those are the two at the top. Let's go ahead and move on to other areas, as it does get a little bit complicated down here the farther we go. Amur River. Right here. Moving down to the rest of China. Yellow River, right up here. Yangtze River. Mekong River. Once again, this is all generally close, so we're doing what we can, right? over in India gets a little bit fun, shall we say. Let's draw the rivers first, and then we'll label. Over here we have the Indus River, Ganges, and then for spelling purposes, let's just go ahead and copy paste Brahmaputra River. Maybe it'll let me copy, maybe not. Here we go. Once again, thank you all for your patience. I appreciate it. And that might be it. Let's just double check our key. Yeah, pretty good, guys. Let's move on to landforms and mountains. Now, it's totally up to you, whatever you fancy as far as, landforms and mountains. Let's try to pick more of a neutral color. Maybe this will look good. Maybe, who knows? Sure. We just need to change the color, right? And hit save. And maybe that'll show, maybe it won't. Maybe we could try a pre-existing color. Maybe yellow. Maybe. There's plenty of mountains in Asia too, as I'm sure you guys might be aware. Let's take a good look at this. Siberia. The West Siberian Plain is up here, so bearing that in mind might help. And let's take it back. 2 other areas. Ural Mountains. Right over here. I think keeping the font in blue is good because it's a nice contrast from the yellow, so I think that'll work. Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats. Once again, here's where it gets a little bit funny. Western Ghats, of course, go down this way. I'm not sure what I was doing there, sorry. And Eastern Ghats go right there. So that's pretty good. The Himalayan mountains, of course, are above India, and they separate India from China. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. Also home to the iconic Mount Everest. So we got that there. Okay. Let's see where else we have. Caucasus Mountains are over here. Sorry that they're a little bit off the map, guys, once again. And let's move forward from there with deserts. Maybe try a different color. Maybe one that actually stands out a little bit more. Gobi Desert. Tibetan Plateau, Korean Peninsula, Talakmukan Desert, Bering Strait. Bering Strait is all the way up here, by the way. So you might have to adjust the text box a little bit. Not a problem. And using the scribble tool to maybe outline areas could be good, because we have the Gobi Desert over here, and then this one over here. Just for spelling purposes, let me get this. And then the Gobi Desert. and Tibetan Plateau, which I think is in the middle. Because that's where Tibet is. Korean Peninsula should be pretty easy. It's where, of course, North and South Korea are. So let's go and label that right over here. Maybe we can move that up there a bit and designate it with the color using red again. Juts out from the Manchurian Plain from China. So you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, it doesn't look that nice. However, the fact is that it does designate certain areas in the way upon which I think makes sense for you guys. That coincides from the reading that you did with the lesson and also for your greater understanding for the unit. So hopefully you found this to be a huge help. Once again, as long as you get as close as possible to some of these locations, that's what I care most about. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good luck with completing the rest of the map assignment and lesson.